welcome back. Hope you guys are having a good afternoon. We're about to have a fantastic chat with Vaillant, a meeting with the head of technology. Please forgive me for mispronouncing this, but Alexander Dauensteiner. And we're going to be talking about fuel cell heating appliances. So please welcome him on stage.
Hi.
Hi. I know you're a very busy man, so thank you for being here with us.
It's good for a fair to be busy.
Excellent. And just to remind you, this is a public forum, so if you have any questions for Alexander, please just put your hand up and I'll bring the mic down to you. So let's get started. Your company has been working on fuel cells since 1997.
Yeah.
And in that time, you've worked with PEM and now have switched to SOFC. So can you talk a little bit about why the switch and what are the benefits that you see with SOFC?
Yeah, you're right. Vaillant is one of the companies from the established heating manufacturers which started the fuel cell development very early in the end of the 90s. We started with PEM, switched to high temperature PEM, and then to SOFC. And we are, I think, the only big company who has really tested and demonstrated all the different technologies for the micro CHP application in small residential applications. The consequence out of this technology evaluation was that we decided for SOFC as we believe that this technology is that one which we believe, which is certainly not the only one, but which we believe could achieve the targets for the market requirements at best. So the robustness of the system is one of the reasons why we shifted to SOFC to make the system as simple as possible.
Excellent. So could you tell us a little bit more about the philosophy of your company since you've made such a big decision?
To be honest, it's not a big decision. I do not see that in that way. Vaillant is one of the oldest heating manufacturers in Europe. We are, in the meantime, 140 years old. And we have a very well-known brand, which the customer expects the best products. And this is self-evident, also valid for new technologies as for fuel cells, certainly. So we have very carefully to deliver what the customer expects, and therefore we have also very carefully to develop those products. And therefore it was not from the very first beginning of the project planned that we really testing all the different technologies. But the results confirms us that it's the right way. So the philosophy of Vaillant, coming back to your question, is to provide a very robust system design, as simple as possible, because a fuel cell will anyhow be more complex than any other product we have in the market at the moment compared to heat pumps or condensing boilers as the state-of-the-art technology, for example. And therefore we need to design from a design to cost perspective the system as simple as possible, and with the reforming concept we have, with the overall system design concept we are following, I think we are on a good way to achieve this customer requirements.
Excellent. So you're at the fair here with a new generation product. So can you tell us what has changed and what is new and what people can expect?
Yeah. Vaillant is coming from very important practical field trials as the CALUX program in Germany, for example, funded by the National Innovation Program of Hydrogen and Fuel Cells. We are one of the first partners in the European field trial Enefield, which we are currently testing 150 appliances. On all these experiences we made from the real practical tests leads to the several decisions. One of the main decisions is what you mentioned, that we made the system much more integrated at the moment. So we are really have integrated major components which was installed separately in the basement previously to the 6th generation we are presenting here at the Hanover Fair. That is the condensing boiler, which is now completely standard design, completely integrated in the system. It's the controls and it's self-evident the fuel cell. So the owner of the house, which are trying to explain, or have to exchange the current system. The old heating system, for example, has only to install this system, which we present here, and add the buffer storage apart from that, and that's all. And the reason, therefore, is not only to make it more cheaper, the system, because the installation cost is one of the cost driver in that segment, but also to rely more on standard components we have already in the portfolio in the group.
And the buffer storage is usually outside of the home, isn't it? It's not inside the home, so it's not going to take up space indoors.
It's inside. It's in the basement, at least in Germany. But this is normally also, you have a buffer storage with a normal condensing boiler. So this is what the customer is used to have. This is no change compared to a fuel cell now.
And so let's talk a little bit about efficiency then. With the new system, what is the current efficiency percentage and what would you like to get to?
The current efficiency is 33% net electrical efficiency. We have a very good overall efficiency of more than 90% at the moment. So we have increased the thermal efficiency by 5% compared to the previous generation. That's very good. The target, and this is what we are working on at the moment, together with our partner Sunfire, is to increase the net electrical efficiency up to roughly 38-39%. Which is more or less that what the market expects. So we can live already with today's efficiencies to show a customer advantage of the energy saving costs during the year, so total cost of ownership for the customer. But there are room for improvements which we are working on, and we are very confident that we will achieve that during the next 12 months.
And does that efficiency change at all with seasons, like with more use in the winter or less use in the summer, or it's just consistent?
We can modulate the system, so we have a nominal electrical power output of 800 watt at the moment, which very well fits to the 1 and 2 family segment. And we will moderate that up to 50% of nominal power. That means 400 watt then electrical and 700 watt thermal power output. It's designed for a continuous work and a continuous operation, but we are able to start and stop with that design. So even if it's an SOFC, we can start and stop the system, that's roughly 10 to 20 times a year. That's not a problem for the stack. And this has also shown also in Kalux field trial and in the Innifield field trial that this is absolutely sufficient for the market.
And in terms of footprint in the basement, is it quite a huge system, or is it fairly sort of compact that is not tiny, but it's not going to take up your entire basement?
No, we have, due to the fact which I described, that we have integrated the system now in more or less one floor standing system. We can save footprint now by half of that from the previous generation. That means we need roughly 3 to maximum 4 square meters. And this is absolutely in line what the market requires. So this is no longer an issue, the space requirements.
Okay, and in terms of safety and security, I mean, I know your company has a very long history with that, so...
Yeah, no, this is always a question operating with hydrogen or natural gas. You can absolutely be sure that these systems are, and also from the competitors, are absolutely safe. Vaillant is 140 years old now. We have from the very first day operating with natural gas. And it's very wise to operate with natural gas very carefully, because this is not easy. This is something we have from the very first field trial system we have solved, so that's no language. This is not an issue.
So if the audience members want to be in safe hands, Vaillant is the place to be, because they know exactly what they're doing. Let's talk a little bit about the fuel types. Do you think, I know right now it's natural gas based, but do you think in the future you would ever consider using alternative fuels, or is it going to be natural gas only?
At the moment, you are right. We are completely focused on natural gas, because this is the big market and this is the big driver. And it's now important for the industry to really launch a first competitive product where we can earn money. So you mentioned it. We have a very long history with the development. Others companies as well. We are not the only one. But it's important now to launch the first product, and there is room for other fuels like compressed gas or something like that. So this is not a question, but the focus of the current development is on natural gas.
And so it seems that you have your customer in mind when you're developing everything. So what are the customer expectations that drive you to innovate?
So it's clear the customer is, especially in Germany, in the past period of time, becoming more and more aware about the fact that energy is nothing which you can buy for nothing. Energy is a value. Energy brings as well some problems and challenges with it, with regards to the CO2 emissions, for example. So there's a big awareness to invest money in the future heating systems, which is completely different and has completely changed during the last years compared to 10 years ago, for example. And the most important customer requirement is to save energy costs, because the energy price is very much a cost driver of the costs during the month. And in the Calux program, for example, in the Infield program, we also confirming that at the moment customers can save up to 800, nearly 1,000 euros a year of electricity costs, which is a driver. But I would not underestimate also the wish of the customer and the engagement of them to contribute also to reducing climate gases. So there is a responsibility also at customer side, not only on policy side, and this is one of the driver. And the third one I would not underestimate as well is that more and more customers are willing to produce their own electricity, so become more and more independent from the supplier, which is also one of the big drivers for the photovoltaic industry. So we can show significant contributions to CO2 emissions savings, but also we can contribute, and this is the most important thing, significantly decrease of energy costs for the customer.
So do you see any specific barriers to your success as of now, whether it is policy or funding or whatever it might be?
Yeah, we all in the industry have one major challenge, which you can certainly understand. This is the capex at the moment, so the costs are very high. I think tomorrow on this booth, a brand new study of Roland Berger will be presented, a very interesting discussion tomorrow. And they came more or less also to the conclusion we have a really high potential of especially micro-CHP fuel cells for the European energy infrastructure, for the European energy policy. But we need to decrease the investment costs. The good thing is the potential of a fuel cell coming into higher volumes now, starting with the first 500 and then setting up with more than 1,000 a year, for example, and up to several 10,000 a year, has absolutely the potential to decrease significantly the costs. So especially SOFC, which we rely on, is built on ceramics, glass and steel. So nothing which we have really a problem with material costs on the long term. So it's now important to enter the next step into industrialization, half-automatized industrialization, manufacturing processes, and this will automatically lead to significant reduction of investment costs for the customer as well. But this is a major challenge which the complete industry has to work on, and which we also rely on the future development and the very well working public-private partnership with the joint undertaking, for example, in Brussels, or the National Innovation Program for Hydrogen and Fuel Cells in Germany.
And this challenge would also essentially address the question of reaching a sustainable market and reaching a sustainable supply as well.
It's absolutely necessary now because the technology is working, the customer is satisfied, everything is fine. The policy likes it because it contributes in a decentralized energy world, which really can significantly contribute to the energy scenario in the future. But the industry is now really aiming to step out of the demonstration into a really market, and it's clear that we have to be competitive with the other products. And no innovative products, even not the heat pump, even not the condensing boiler, 20 years ago, had a chance without any funding in the market. It's not possible. So everyone who had a mindset that innovative technologies can enter the market from a laboratory stage or even a small-scale demonstration into a competitive price is wrong. Heat pumps is at the moment no under funding, so they will be also funded at the moment. So we need a technology implementation program for a certain period of time, which stops then. This is in discussion in Germany, for example. We will now start a discussion at the European level. Parallel to large-scale demonstrations, we are now planning with the European Commission. And the preparation of the markets are very, very important at the moment, and then we have really a chance.
Excellent. We have a few minutes left, so if anyone has any questions, I'll just bring the mic down to you.
Mm-hmm.
So staying on the question of significant investment on the part of the customer, what kind of return on investment are you forecasting at this particular stage in the process?
The customer expectations in this segment is very simple. They have normally an expected lifetime of 15 years of a normal heating system. And within that 15 years, we have to be a return on investment, at least. At the moment, it is not possible due to the high capex we have at the moment. We are more or less hand manufactured, as I explained. But given the fact that the customer is able to save about 800 to 100,000 euro a year, you can estimate how long you can take for an additional investment of 8 to 10,000 euro compared to a condensing boiler, for example. So at the moment, it's not possible to have a really a return on investment within the 10 years, or for example. But I'm absolutely convinced that this is possible as soon as we can reach the first 500 or the first 10,000 units we can sell a year. The potential is absolutely there, and then it's attractive. So it's, to give you an indication, it's from a potential point of view for a stack, it's absolutely possible to build a stack for a 1 kilowatt system to much lower cost than any conventional engine today. There's no problem. But only within high manufacturing rates and units in the market.
Any other questions? All right. I have one final question for
Sure.
you. You've mentioned the NFL program a couple
Yeah.
of times. Could you outline for us what that is, how you're involved, and how that is going to change the future of fuel cells?
Enfield is a very good and important bridge which runs under the fuel cell and hydrogen joint undertaking in Brussels, which is a private partnership between industry and policy. The aim of Enfield is, let's say, coming from a CALUX program, from the National Innovation Program in Germany, with about 500 systems, now to double that with 1,000 systems in Europe, in more than 7 member states in Europe, which gives a bridge towards that what I've explained previously, to really carefully prepare the market without any funding for the manufacturers at the moment, because it's a manufacturer-based funding, a big demonstration program with 26 partners. I can say it's a very good project, very good performing. We had some startup problems, but we are now really performing. For example, Vaillant is installing 3 to 4 systems a week. We have currently 80 units in the field in the midterm. We are exactly in the midterm of the project at the moment. In total, we will install 150 until the August this year. So can really say very good initiative from the European Commission, and a very important step towards that what we have discussed today.
Excellent. So to summarize, if you want to be in fantastic hands with 140 years of experience, if you want to save money and you want to produce clean energy and you know that you as a customer are on top of their mind, Vaillant is the place to be, and I would encourage you to visit their stand and have a further chat of how you could become part of this solution and take it further. Mr. Dauensteiner, it's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you so much for taking the time out.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
See you. Bye.
Thanks. And thanks everyone for coming today. But don't leave, it's only going to get more exciting. There's a chat coming up about special markets for fuel cells with Now GmbH.